everybody, and welcome to Survival Dispatch. My name is Bear with BearIndependent.com. Glad you were able to make it. We get this question a lot in the preparedness community. Bear, how much ammo should I have? It's a bit of a loaded question, but the answer is all of it, always, all the time. However, currently, given today's unreliable supply chain logistics and the extremely high demand of ammunition, perhaps we can apply some metrics to this. First of all, I believe that every rifle or carbine should have a combat loadout with a minimum of 6 mags, plus 1 in the gun. Some people like more, some people like less. I prefer 10 plus 1. We'll just go ahead and say 10 as a nice round number so that we can do some easy math with that. Assuming that you live in a state that recognizes freedom, you're able to have 30 round magazines, standard capacity magazines. If you had 10 of those for your carbine, AR, AK, magical unicorn, pony, horse gun, whatever, you're talking 300 rounds per loadout. Take that number, put it over here. One of the major issues with patriot-minded folks is a failure to acknowledge a lack of resupply. You don't have 10 mags. Now what? You are your own resupply. The Black Hawk is not coming for you. The truck is not rolling up to your position to kick a box of ammo off the back. Okay? So if we are our own resupply, we should have at least, says me, 3 iterations of our combat loadout. So now we've just gone from 300 rounds to 900 rounds, preferably in magazines, 30 mags. You could pretty much answer the same question. Bear, how many magazines should I have? All of them, always, all the time. But we're now up to 30 loaded magazines, 900 rounds per loadout, per person or per carbine / rifle. 900 is kind of a difficult number to multiply, so we're just going to go ahead and call that 1,000. Case lot of ammo, 5.56, 223, whatever boutique round you prefer. And please let me reiterate, if you are going to have a boutique round, 300 blackout, 6.5, 6.8, 458, 450 SOCOM, whatever, you are in charge of your own ammo, bro. If you run dry, I'm not able to hand you a magazine. Okay, so you need to take even more precaution when it comes to stockpiling ammunition. So we'll say 3 iterations of a combat loadout, 10 magazines, 300 rounds times 3 is 900. Round it to 1,000 rounds for your carbine. Okay. Additionally, we need to have the same for our defensive handgun. The magazines that I carry for my defensive handgun hold 17 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. I have 3 of them currently. 1 in the firearm plus 2 reloads. That adds to 52 rounds. 3 times 17 plus 1 in the chamber is 52 rounds. 52 again is an obnoxious number. Most handgun ammunition is sold in either 20, 25, or 50 round boxes. For our purposes, we will simply say that we're going around 52 to 60. That'd be 3 boxes at 20 rounds. Same concept of there is no resupply. We are our own resupply. If we are our own resupply, then we need to multiply that 60 rounds times 3. We come up with 180. 180 is very close to 200, so we're just going to call it 200. So if you're tracking so far, we've got 1,000 rounds for our carbine and 200 rounds for our defensive handgun. Okay? And this can be whatever type of specialty ammo you like. If you like Hornady Critical Duty, if you like Spear Gold Dots, whatever floats your boat, man. Just 200 rounds of that. Next from there, what about practice? Because you are practicing, right? You are going to the range. You are practicing your fundamentals. Hopefully not just a square range, but you're moving, you're shooting dynamically. Any practice is better than no practice. And if you cannot get to a range due to COVID or due to cash flow situation or because there's simply not one by you, yes, you definitely can dry fire, and you probably should dry fire. It costs you no money other than a few bucks for some snap caps, and as long as you have good fundamentals already, it will help you maintain your skill sets. Probably not going to help you increase your skill set, but you can at least keep the edge sharp on that skill set. Now, if we get back to practice, going to the range, if you shoot one box of handgun ammo, 50 rounds of FMJ, and 2 carbine mags during your range session, which for me is an anemic amount of ammo, 110 rounds per range session. The last time I was at the range, I think I shot 310 rounds in about an hour. And also understand that there's a difference between going to the range and blasting a bunch of steel and paper and actually training. So I would recommend that if you are going to the range and you have limited time and a limited budget like most of us do, plan each shot. Plan a course of fire before you go so you get the most out of your time, get the most out of your money, especially in today's day and age where it's incredibly difficult to come upon things like ammunition. 50 rounds of handgun, 60 rounds of carbine. Extrapolate that out 52 weeks per year. We're talking 2,600 rounds of FMJ handgun ammo and 3,120 rounds of carbine ammo. Again, you know I like round numbers, so round it up. 3,000 rounds of handgun ammo and 3,500 rounds of carbine ammo. Now, if we add all of that up, we have 1,000 rounds for our SHTF loadout, our combat loadout, plus resupply. We have 200 rounds for our defensive handgun, okay, our EDC piece, whatever it is, man. And this, by the way, is per weapons platform. So if you have 3 defensive handguns, you need 200 rounds per handgun. If you have 4 AR-15s, you need 1,000 rounds or 30 loaded mags per rifle. Says me. This is my opinion of the matter. Now we add in practice. So one person per year shooting an anemic amount of ammunition, 50 rounds of handgun and 60 rounds out of their carbine every time they practice every week, is going to require 3,000 rounds for the handgun, 3,500 rounds for the carbine. So 7,700 rounds of ammunition per year is what we're talking about to get your loadout to where it needs to be for the carbine and defensive handgun and to practice. So that's a massive number. It's a much larger number than what most people think, which is why I took the time to do some quick math and come up with these numbers. Also, frankly, I try and go to our range every week, and I try to shoot every week, and I have found it more and more and more difficult to acquire the ammunition needed to replace what I'm shooting. So I wanted to come up with a number that I needed as a minimum to stockpile to be able to train weekly, even if it is only 1 box of handgun ammo and 2 AR mags. That I can go and be intentional with my time, be intentional with each shot, and actually train skills, not just blow up a bunch of targets. So, to recap, 1,000 rounds for your carbine, your SHTF rifle, or whatever it is that you have, which is a combat loadout, 10 loaded mags, times 3, rounded up to 1,000. 200 rounds for your defensive handgun per weapons platform. And then per person per year, 3,000 rounds for handgun, 3,500 rounds for carbine, just to maintain the skills that we have. This does not include going and taking a weekend carbine course or going to a defensive handgun course or taking a long-range shooting course or anything like that. Additionally, let's talk briefly about long guns and shotguns. Long guns meaning, precision rifles, or hell, even deer rifles. For a bolt-action rifle, semi-automatic sniper system, precision rifle, DMR, designated marksman rifle, a couple hundred rounds of an ammunition that will cycle well in the weapon and that is accurate in the weapon, meaning that you need to take the time to determine which round is best paired with that weapon, then stockpile that. That's worth the time and energy to do on the front end, to shoot a half a dozen different types of ammunition out of that weapon, especially if you're looking for accuracy, to find a loading that weapon likes, and then stockpile that. For things like deer rifles, bolt guns, stuff like that, most deer hunters have a box or two of ammunition laying around. I would recommend 200 rounds. If you're dealing with a semi-automatic precision rifle, probably want to bump that closer to 500 rounds, because again, we should be training with these things, not just talking about how good we are with them. We should be training with them regularly. The last time I went and shot long gun, I shot 60 rounds in a day and made every round count, but I was down 60 rounds afterwards. Shotguns. A couple hundred rounds of shotguns. For your shotgun, you're pretty well good to go. If you take 100 rounds and split that between slugs and buckshot, whatever flavor you prefer, 4-buck, triple-aught buck, double-aught buck, whatever, and whatever slugs you prefer, probably 70-30 between buckshot and slugs on the first 100 rounds, and then another 100 rounds of bird shot. And this could be number 4 shot, which is devastating at close ranges for defensive scenarios, and even number 7.5, number 8 bird shot that you would shoot squirrels, rabbits, snakes, clay pigeons with, which even inside of 7 yards, most home defense scenarios is still devastating. A couple hundred rounds for that shotgun, and you're good to go. Now, all of this being stated, I fully realize that that's a lot of ammunition. Those are big numbers, and a lot of people right now don't have the money necessarily, or the availability necessarily, the best words, to procure that much ammunition. So my recommendation to you would be, get what you can. Whatever you can get it. Whatever you have the opportunity to train with it. Which I guess lastly brings us to 22 caliber weapons. How much ammo? All of it, always, all the time. 500, 1,000 rounds to start with, and then on up from there. But 500 rounds of 22, if you're just going to use it for the occasional varmint or a little bit of plinking, not a problem. I would take it way up from there if you can. So, thanks for sticking around for all this boring math. I appreciate y'all. If you'd like to check us out, you can check us out at the YouTube channel Bear Independent, INDEPENDENT, Bear, BEAR, Independent. On YouTube, we have over 1,000 videos on YouTube. Recommend you check out the Prepper Classroom playlist. I don't do any editing, by the way. Also, we're on Patreon. Starts at $1 a month or $10 a year on Patreon. There's over 1,000 videos on our Patreon as well that are exclusive Patreon-only videos. We're on Instagram, we're on Parler, and of course you can check us out at bearindependent.com for all your handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever blowout kits that exceed military specification. Shout out to Survival Dispatch. Thank you all for having me along for a ride. We appreciate y'all. Shalom.